So, the spoilers are out for My Hero Academia manga chapter 335, and let's just say from what we see with the leaks, we get probably the most anticipated reveal of the entire series. And we'll see what that reveal is right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Drew, and I'm here to do and cover the spoilers for My Hero Academia manga chapter 335 spoilers. And when it comes to what we've seen with the spoilers for this chapter, oh boy, this is a lot. And it's not a lot as in a lot of information that we got in this chapter, most likely, but a lot when it comes to what's going to happen most likely at the end of this chapter with a certain reveal of the certain allegiances of a certain character. Not gonna say what those allegiances are, but it's something that we have been anticipating throughout the entire story, and we finally potentially get it revealed in this chapter. So before we dive into the spoilers, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I cover the My Hero Academia manga, whether through discussions, spoilers, or reviews. So if that's something that you're interested in, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And without the way, let's get right into the spoilers. So to start off, from what we see with the spoilers, the title of this chapter is Fertilized Eggs, and you'll get a little bit more for why that is the case with the cover page, where we just get an image of All Might with an egg, and the fertilized eggs is most likely referencing Class 1A. So yeah, let's get right into the spoilers, where we have the chapter beginning with All Might explaining that based on the analysis performed by the Jets, they have discovered that New Order became some kind of poison in Shigaraki's body and that it has been destroyed an unknown number of quirks. The students believe that there's a chance to win since the civilians have been evacuated and all the heroes could go on the attack. However, All Might says that it is difficult to predict All For One's movements and that it will be difficult to avoid a large-scale confrontation. So from what we see with the spoilers, we see that we may not get a full list of all of the quirks that were destroyed, but the fact that the kids as well as All Might now know that a lot of his quirks are destroyed and that he's in a weaker state, that now is their time to go up against All For One and to try and take him out, because they're going to have to do it because a large-scale confrontation is going to be unavoidable. And from what we see with the next line of text spoilers, we see that he lists out the names of their enemies, which include Shigaraki, All For One, Dabi, Toga, 6 near high-end Nomus, and the remaining members of the Paranormal Liberation Front, and all the other prison breakers that are still out there. The heroes, on the other hand, have lost almost half of their own, so the students will have to train as much as possible. Bakugo shouts, saying that they have been preparing for a long time. They've been training with the Pussycats since the end of the war. All Might just didn't notice because he went to follow Deku when he left the hospital. So from what we see with this little lines of text spoilers, we get a confirmation of how many heroes have left Japan, which means that half of the heroes that were once heroes are no longer the case. And we also get a little bit confirmation about the students and how they've been practicing with the Wild Wild Pussycats, which makes sense with the context of certain things that we learned. For instance, how Bakugo learned a new special move. This is probably how he was able to learn it, because he was training with the Wild Wild Pussycats along with the other students. So it's cool that we're most likely going to get a little bit more elaboration on that in this chapter. And then the next few lines of text spoilers pretty much talk about how Midoriya is asking for help to help him unleash his full potential of One For All, but Bakugo obviously yells at him. He says that he was wanting to test the strength of his new technique Cluster, and that Deku will be a good warm-up before the fight against Shigaraki and All For One. Then all the students start talking about their techniques and what they want to do to train them. All Might remembers the first training at UA and says that these little eggs have hatched long ago. They braved the storm and became birds that will now cross the skies. He then thinks to himself, Class 1A is strong, All For One. So yeah. Like I said, we're most likely going to get a little bit more about how the students have been training, and this is kind of going to be building up most likely to new techniques that we're going to see when they finally face off against All For One and Shigaraki and the other members of the Paranormal Liberation Front. So it's very interesting to see that we're most likely getting that set up here. And then from here, the spoilers seem to show that we are going to cut over to seeing what the villains are doing, because it says that we cut over to the villain's lair where Shigaraki is roaring in pain. All For One calls him another me and asks him to calm down, saying that the quirk factor is damaged and that they just have to wait a while for him to stabilize. Toga is also with them. Shigaraki says that he hates Star, hates all of this, wants to end it all. As long as a single person remembers All Might's face, that hatred will not cease. All For One is smiling as he thinks of himself that because of the fusion of consciousness, he can feel Tomura's rage. All For One pats him on the head and says that he did a good job. Even if he didn't steal New Order, he got the biggest wall out of the way. So, we're getting to see a little bit more of the villains with this chapter, seeing how Shigaraki is still writhing in pain because of everything that has happened. So this is explaining why he can't immediately go after One For All. So it's cool to see that, as well as we're getting more confirmation that we're going to see other characters. We do see Dabi and Toga are near where All For One is, so that's going to be cool to see what's going to happen with them. And now we get a little bit more tech spoilers where we have All For One, who's apparently saying that although the preparations are ready, he wants to wait a little longer. Dabi is impatient. He can't stand the thought of his father being alive and doing his job well. All For One tells him that although they have similar personalities, there is a big difference between the two of them. All For One likes to plan multiple routes to reach a single goal. He has spent decades creating new routes to cross the finish line. He says that although Midoriya has returned to the well-secured UA, what will guarantee the villain's victory is the crucial difference between All For One and Toya. I have many friends. As he says this, we see a light that Shigaraki's eyes seems to be drawn to. The camera transitions a long distance until it stops at UA, where we see a silhouette of Hagekure. End of chapter. So, from what we see with the spoilers, most likely who the traitor is, the traitor that we've been looking for almost 300 chapters, is actually Hagekure, the invisible girl, which, you know what, it makes sense. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that in the actual review and discussion. But overall, this is the spoilers that we have for this chapter. We are going to most likely see Class 1A talking about their abilities, talking about what's going on. We may not get in depth into what the villain side is going to be about when it comes to all of the people on it. We won't go that in depth, which is a little bit sad, but most likely we're going to get some hints into what is going to go on so that they can eventually build a plan, and also a little bit more confirmation about what the students have been doing, as well as getting more confirmation about what the villains are going to be doing for the next week or so, as well as, like I said, the reveal that potentially Hagekure is the UA traitor. We don't know definitively if that is the case, but from what we're seeing with the spoilers and when the chapter comes out, they may straight out confirm it, so we just have to wait to see. So yeah, that's all the spoilers that I have for you right now. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. What do you think of the spoilers? Do you think that from what we see with the spoilers that Hagekure is the traitor, or do you think that there's another possibility that she could be tracked by someone else, by All For One, and may not directly be the traitor? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye.